Good morning, and welcome to another mesmerizing version of Diatribes from the voice of Doom. Now here's your melancholy and meandering host, voice of Doom. It's a little theme song for Lindsey Graham. I'm sure he would enjoy hearing lots of those sounds falling around his head, since he's so anxious to have everyone else be blown up. But we'll get into that later. I was going to do a diatribe. It's 3:43 in the morning. Time is meaningless to me now. And I shouldn't even be doing one because I haven't done my prayers in maybe 2.5, 3 days. And when you don't do your daily practice, then you are out of rhythm with the universe, and then whatever you say is not going to be succinct. But I'll try my best. Lot going on in the world, and I want to preface this particular episode by apologizing for my last one because I was in a bad mood, and I just want to tell the universe, yeah, I'm mad. Everyone die, whatever. A lot of people feel that way, but not many people get on the stupid-ass computer and just spout it out to the world. They spout it out to me, and I gotta listen to it. And they gotta explain to me why the world is all effed up. Which is quite boring to me, because most of the time they're reiterating what I already know and have seen, and they're acting like it's big news. But they're not quite as fatalistic and doom-saying as I am, because I think everything will be fine, and I don't. So let's talk about a few issues that have been going on in the world. I want to, do an episode for my fan, singular, because I owe it to that person. I'll say him. I've met him, and I believe it's a male. That I should, try to keep up on current events. And I appreciate his comments. And he's the only one who does. So I appreciate that. But let's get into what's going on. Well, it's the same as what I've said and what I've predicted and what I warned about. I said back during the Afghanistan debacle that if we don't get rid of this regime, it's only going to get worse. And I think I've been proven right. I also said in one of my earliest diatribes, probably in the first 5, when I first started getting the hang of what I was doing, I did a trilogy on the history of war as I understood it. And I said that the next theater of operations for what used to be the United States Armed Services would be at the U.S. used to be Mexican border. And I think my prognostication is bearing out if people look, because although they want to go to war with China badly, the Lindsays and whoever else is out there, the liberals, the left-wing wokesters, can't wait to go to war because they think that would be just Marvy because Petri dish is in office. If Orangey was in office, all this Ukraine business they'd be burning down cities over that. But since Petri is in charge, this is a noble war that we should empty our coffers and give them every last thing we can give them. Now, War is not a cheap industry. It costs trillions of dollars, and they've been spending trillions of dollars over the last bunch of decades, since the end of World War II, to propagate war and to build the equipment necessary to carry out war, as long as it's in somebody else's yard, not in our yard, but over there. And I see goppers having their meetings in our restaurant. They all have their cowboy hats on, and they're all very indignant about how the world's going, and they're ready to change things. And they're local grassroots goppers. And I really want to go up to them and say, you know, you guys' karma is really bad. You think you're the good guys, and you're not. You have your nice houses, you have your cars, you have your 401ks, and you plan your life out very well as a aging boomer to basically use the military-industrial complex to enrich yourself. And if you don't think you're doing it, then you're woefully ignorant. So I want to say that, but they wouldn't understand, and they'd be mad at me. They wouldn't get it. They wouldn't look at the karmic retribution that our populace as a whole will have to endure because we allowed it to happen. I'm going to do a diatribe that's very detailed about how the boomers and their parents basically set up this used-to-be country so that they could live high on the hog at the expense of future generations and at the expense of lives of people in, Vietnam, Syria, Libya, Palestine, Iraq, various countries, and enrich themselves by building huge armaments that could blow up the planet many times over, and wasting all of our resources and all of our money to just try to keep up with the next guy, so that if they can blow us up, we can blow them up. Mutually assured destruction. Come on. I don't want to go into too much detail. If you think about it, you can see we haven't had a good society since 1946. No, we haven't. Certain people, I don't remember their names off the top of my head, John Foster Dulles and his brother, and all those guys, and the bankers, discovered after they won the war against Schicklgruber that war is a very profitable way to run economies so that we never have to be in a depression again, because we will have Northrop, we will have Grumman, we will have Lockheed, we will have Raytheon, we will have L'Oreal, we will have multi-billion, trillion-dollar companies subsidized by the government to build bombs and build planes and build B-2 bombers and build, stealth bombers and stealth fighters and satellite systems and everything else to keep us safe. And in the long run, we built such a horribly complicated infrastructure that we're not safe at all. We're barely safe from balloons. I don't want to think about what would happen if they sent jets and fighter bombs and pilots and people with self-destructive helmets on in lots of planes to what used to be the United States. I don't think people would be able to handle that in their mind. It would be anathema to their schema of their existence, because what used to be America has always been special. We're exempt. We will not ever suffer any harm because we're the good guys. Always remember that. And now all the bad guys are banding together and saying this good guy isn't really cutting it no more. We've taken that country for all we can get, and now they're not really cutting it because they seem to be insane as a group. And I will get a little bit more into that. Insanity. There's been a lot of brouhaha about transgenderism because they've used that particular ideology as a way to divide everyone and to create confusion. And it's so ridiculous. I've already talked about this. Go back to my playlists and I explain what transgenderism really is. A lot of people are jumping on bandwagons and creating personas for themselves, and it's just performance art. Now everybody's into this Jeffrey Marsh thing. And when you see that person, they're not transgendered. They just want to be different. They want to be kind of a, effeminate male, which everyone's seen. I had an effeminate male friend when I was 7 years old, and my parents were saying, how close are you to this guy? And I'm like, he's all right, but I'm not, They're like, well, and my dad was gay, so this was a very complicated time back in the 60s. Because even though my dad was gay and married, he didn't want me hanging out too much with the effeminate kid. Probably because he thought I'd turn out to be gay. Which I did not. I turned out to be kind of transgendered in a way. I kind of like women's clothing. But I'm kind of losing interest in doing all that because they've ruined it. They've taken the fun out of it. And by they, I don't know who they are. The powers that be that are pulling the puppet strings of these people. But Jeffrey Marsh gets on and he's got this grin and he's very eerie. Or whatever the hell. Just very eerie and says, if your parents don't understand that you want to be a certain way, then just cut off all ties with them. And I'll be your support system. And just prima facie, on its face, it just is kind of creepy. And, if you look at society, people are very concerned with pedophilia and child abuse as far as sexuality and whether we sexualize the kids, which we have been. And the fact that I was looking through my YouTube feeds and I looked into the life of Shirley Temple. That drink with the 7-Up and the grenadine. She didn't even like those, it turns out. They just named it after her. She was a prodigy. She was a very talented little kid and cute as a button. She was abused. She was molested. And she was manhandled by studio executives. So pedophilia goes way back. It's nothing new. People should do their homework and check into it because she was abused, and a lot of those female stars, Judy Garland, everyone knows she was abused. They worked her to death, and they had her on amphetamines when she was 15. So they'll do anything for a buck. And when I decided I would boycott going to the theater back in 1900 and probably be about 99, because I was still in LA, I said, I'm never going to the theater again. I'm not going to support Hollywood with any bit of my money. No popcorn, no candy, no soda. because I can't do it. I don't think these people should be making so much money. And now that I've looked more into it, I was right. Because Hollywood is basically a den of iniquity, and there was a lot of pedophilia there. I know it. It's been going on for almost 100 years. So you have Jeffrey Marsh sounding like a good person who's actually grooming kids to leave their parents, cut them off, and become who they want to be. And you'd be surprised, most parents are more open-minded than you give them credit for. So to say, just because I go up to my dad and say I want to have green hair and a nose ring, and then, earlobes going down to my shoulders, and I want to have long hair and I want to get a boob job, he'd probably say, all right, whatever. But I didn't say anything, and it's already 16 minutes. I'm going to get more into this whole thing because they're all tied together. I've been realizing that. All this transphobia because you don't agree with, the color of a person's eyebrows. And so you're a transphobe and a hater. And Lindsey Graham wanting us to go to war with China, which is a really interesting concept. Let's just think about what that would be like. Just think about it for a minute. So I'll leave it there. I said nothing. I'll continue this later. I just wanted to get a quick one in for my fan. And thanks. I'll see you on another day.